Welcome back to Real Phonies, where we take a love for movies and television and combine it with very little knowledge about movies and television. I'm your host, Christian. Joined with me are my co-host, Joseph.
Yellow.
And Jehu. No Ian this week. Ian has not finished Watchmen, therefore he is not invited to participate in this podcast. We are going to be reviewing, discussing HBO's sequel to the, I want to say much beloved, but at least much talked about graphic novel, Watchmen. I mean, do we want to talk a little bit about like the graphic novel itself, just like the focus it has? Because I feel like that's pertinent to the sequel.
Well, I think probably most people's transition point into this is from the Zack Snyder film, right. Which is, I think it gets a lot of crap for not being crazy accurate, but honestly keeps a lot of major stuff.
It's super accurate except for one part.
Right.
It's just the part that it's not accurate to was exactly the part I wanted to see Zack Snyder direct.
And so I think what may throw people off about the series is that it's more of a sequel to the graphic novel. Right. Some specific, they explain it in the series, but if if you're familiar with the novels, the graphic novels, then it would make more sense from the get-go.
Right. I mean, when we get to a spoilery part of this, I can tell you there's basically one thing that you need to know different.
Have you read it? Have you read the original?
Nope.
Really? Never?
I don't read any comic book. Crazy. On principle.
Watchmen came at a weird time for me. Like, of course, it's way older than I am, but that I had read comics and then it stopped reading comics, and it was that between the ages of 14 and 16, as a guy anyway, I feel like anything that you're supposed to have fun with, you're supposed to hate and be like, no, I'm too cool for that. I'm badass. And so that's how I felt about comics. I had stopped reading them, and then I was like, hey, here's a comic book that kind of plays into that shit. Right. And so I read it, and I thought it was great. As the older I've got, the more I don't really enjoy it. I had a friend who, she had a hedgehog. She named it Dr. Manhattan. So it had some, pertinence in my life. But, what do you think, Jay?
I love Watchmen. I love the story, and I love the art. Yeah. It has a really distinct look to it.
I think people killed Rorschach for me. I think that was...
Well, I mean, the thing is, I think that Rorschach is oh boy, this is going to be the most literary this podcast has ever gotten.
I'm excited.
He's a lot like Satan in Paradise Lost. You're supposed to love him in the beginning, and then by the end of it, you're supposed to think a little less of yourself for loving.
Yeah.
And I think I definitely, at the beginning of the narrative, Rorschach is so much the coolest guy in it. And as it goes on and goes on, you realize, oh, this is only cool if you're 15, But yeah, it has a really cool look to it. I don't agree with people who say it's the best comic ever, or at least the best superhero comic ever, just because I think it's easy to tear down, and that's what it does. It sort of tears down superhero conventions and stuff like that. But I do love it, and it definitely, there's no doubt it changed the comic book industry into what you know it today.
Yeah, it's been wanted to be adapted for a long time, but a lot of people thought it would be impossible.
Right.
Eventually, Zack Snyder does it in 2006, 2007,
right. Somewhere around there. I think 2007.
And I think he does a pretty good job. I think the Watchmen movie is maybe Zack Snyder's best movie.
It's probably my favorite thing he's done. I definitely think that, going back to what we were just talking about, he maybe doesn't get that Rorschach isn't cool.
Yeah.
I've watched it numerous times. I like it a lot.
I will say this, Jackie Earle Haley, born to play Rorschach.
Fucking nails it.
Yeah.
Casting overall in it is good. The guy who plays the comedian, what's his name?
Jeffrey Dean Morgan.
He is so fucking good at it.
Yeah. But all of that to say, it's an influential property that's affected a lot of people, been the discussion of many topics. And so Damon Lindelof, who...
famous from Lost.
Hot off The Leftovers.
Hot off The Leftovers, which is great if you haven't watched.
Pitched to HBO a sequel to the graphic novel, not to the film. And man, was it good. Unsurprising. It was unsurprising because I think of the caliber of actors and the studio behind it.
No, there was no reason that this series should have been as good as it was.
I really believe that there was a lot going... Even the trailers, I was buying into all the hype for it.
Right.
Yeah.
But yet it still surpassed my expectations.
Yeah.
I didn't doubt it going into it. You hate Damon Lindelof. So
yeah, no, I was very down on it.
I think that obscures your excitement for it going into it.
It did, but even that, I overcame my hatred for David Lindelof to realize that he's made the best TV of the last year.
Yeah, I think going into it, just before you would have told me anything about it, hey, we're going to make a TV sequel to Watchmen, I would have been like, nope, don't do that. That's a terrible fucking idea. And man, does it live up to it so much. And it both has a super reference for the original material and completely takes a piss on it. Like, you know, it is reverent, but it also is like, this is kind of ridiculous, too.
One thing that, and I don't really think this is a spoiler based on where the graphic novel ends, I would say definitely your two most famous characters in the graphic novel would be the comedian and Rorschach. We both know what ends up with those guys. But you take out those guys, you take out Night Owl, and you see Dr. Manhattan in the trailer. He's not in the majority of this show.
Right.
So, like, 4 of the big players in there are not in this show at all, and it still feels like a really natural sequel.
Yeah, totally.
To the story, not maybe not the story, but exists in the same world.
It feels like if Alan Moore would have done a sequel to this, it would have been this.
I would agree with that.
You know, like
Alan Moore definitely wouldn't have told a direct sequel,
right?
So I definitely think in that regard, it certainly feels like it.
And, you know, like Watchmen was really about the times, this is about these times, you know. It is, you know, a lot of fucking fanboys online were pissed off. It's like, why does Watchmen have to be political? It's always been fucking political, and this is right in line with that.
I will say one of the things that I didn't necessarily love about the series is that I feel like it tried to make too many messages about too many things to the point where it just kind of got muddled as you went on and things became clearer. But it's still really good.
Another thing before we get into spoilers, it's extremely well acted. Regina King is great in this. And Gene Smart is great in this.
And I think that's the key, because I would say there are probably 2 people here that are acting as like people who are supposed to be our portal, viewpoint into the story,
point of view character.
And I'd say that's Tim Blake Nelson as Looking Glass, but more than anybody, it's absolutely Regina King. Because as much as I love Gene Smart and Jeremy Irons and fucking everybody else in this, a lot of the other people are doing kind of these over-the-top, larger-than-life characters in a semi-realistic world. And as good as I think this series is, if Regina King is not as fucking crushing it as she is in this, I don't think it works at all.
I think my problem was trying to figure out who the best one is in this. It's one of those things, it's whichever one I'm looking at.
Sure.
Because everybody in it is so fucking good.
Yeah.
You know, even Don Johnson with his time.
Oh, God, I love
great.
I know.
I was really impressed with, I'm not even going to try to say his name, but Cal.
Yeah. I think it's Yahya Abdul-Mateen.
It is that.
Yeah.
I have a low expectation. I like him in Aquaman, but I realize he's like overacting and super cheesy.
Yeah, he does. I mean, yeah, I love Aquaman, but he's pretty awful in it.
Yeah. But this, like, just calm, collected. Yeah. I mean, I think he's really good at it.
Yeah, I do too.
But yeah, I would say it's Regina King. She carries the weight of this thing.
Also, this is just a really cool looking show.
Yeah.
It has a cool visual style, and the music is fucking outstanding. Mm-hmm. Both the soundtrack by Trent Reznor and Atticus Rose, and just the songs that they choose for it.
Man, I want to hate Trent Reznor so much, but I love the score to The Social Network, and I love the score to this.
Well, this one is definitely, like, the score to The Social Network seemed like he was reaching. This seemed like, no, I'm just going to do the thing that I do in this, you know.
Yeah, as I said in the text chat, what really sold me on the soundtrack for this is including Turtles All the Way Down by Sturgill Simpson, which is the most ridiculous country song ever written. So I think we're all going to say better than Transformers.
For sure.
Way fucking better than Transformers.
Do we want to go into spoilers?
Do we think Zack Snyder's was better than Transformers?
I do.
I think it is, but like barely.
I say this all the time. Have you watched the director's cut of it?
The director's cut is really good.
Yeah,
and I've watched. I own the director's, and the fucking super box set.
Yeah,
cut,
Black Sail, whatever.
And I like them all. It's better than Transformers.
Yeah.
I think its parts are better than the sum.
I would agree with that.
Sure.
Yeah.
That's kind of like, it's just pretty fun scene to scene.
Right. I mean, because that's what Zack Snyder directs, is video game cutscenes.
Correct.
You know, so.
It's such a literal interpretation besides the one huge thing.
Right.
That it's really hard for me to be like, well, it's bad because I feel like that's a reflection on Watchmen itself.
Totally. Yeah.
But also, like, it's not super creative. He doesn't take any risk in that. Besides the Hallelujah sex scene, like I feel like everything else is just a ripoff of what we've already seen. So it's better than Transformers, but this is better.
This is better than both of them. Yes.
Yeah. So spoilers.
Well, let's start with the big difference. Is this?
This is a good place to start.
In the comics, Ozymandias' big plan is he kidnaps a bunch of like artists and scientists and people who may have psychic powers. And uses them to build a fake alien, giant sort of H.P. Lovecraft-esque alien.
Cthulhu.
That he transports into Times Square and kills 1 million people. They just changed that to being Dr. Manhattan instead in the movie. Mm-hmm. The show definitely follows the comic that it's the squid monster. Zack Snyder and his super literal shit, I would have loved to have seen him put the squid monster on screen.
Yeah, he would have done a good job with it.
Yeah.
I feel like they were trying to make a point when they made it Dr. Manhattan, and it just doesn't land because your expectation is for it to be a giant squid monster.
I thought that was just because back in 2007 when that movie was made, that was like just the bridge too far for whatever studio exec was going to be signing
that's
off
probably true too, but I think the connotation then is like, oh, if we can't do that, then we're going to try to add and make it a statement, which is this thing that was our hero is also our downfall.
Yeah.
And it doesn't land because people want it to be a giant squid monster.
Right.
So do we want to kind of follow it through the episode thread and unfold it as the story unfolds? Because we start with Regina King's character, which is Angela Abar, who is a secret cop in the city of Tulsa, Oklahoma.
Yep.
Yeah. Actually, I take that back. We actually start on the what is it, 1920 whatever, Tulsa race riots, Tulsa massacre.
So, just going before this, did you guys think that was a real thing going into this?
I had to look it up. I didn't know.
I knew it was real.
I did not know, or at least I didn't know that it was to that degree.
Correct.
I thought, this is something they manufactured for this universe, but
that's very real.
Thing.
Very terrible.
Yeah, apparently the relabeling to Tulsa Massacre is more recent and more accurate because Tulsa Race Riot is really understating it.
Yes.
Right.
So it starts on a real life event, but leading to the first character that we actually meet that we follow through the rest of the series.
Her grandfather.
Yeah.
I mean, in that, and maybe that's a spoiler too, but I can't remember the character's name.
But then we cut to present day Oklahoma. Secret cop Angela Abar.
She's given the thing at her kid's school.
So we find out that we're in this world, well past decades after the squid attack.
Right.
There are remaining squid showers every once in a while from presumptively what's left over from the initial squid attack. And then also we find out that in Tulsa, Oklahoma, there has been this growing
white
supremacist movement that had an organized attack on the police, forcing the police to adopt masks to hide their identity.
Yep.
So now it's masked cops against masked
white supremacists.
So we meet Angela Abar teaching in a school, theoretically running a bakery.
Yeah, she's a cover-up.
But she's a secret masked cop.
Yeah. She's adopted a persona.
Right. Sister Knight was
Sister Knight. Yeah. And the first episode really is a good job of introducing the world, some of the things that have changed, the imprint that the Watchmen we know have existed in the society. I think what's the show, Meeting the Minutemen or something like that, is like a documentary that's constantly playing throughout the series. The big twist being here is her boss Don Johnson has some nefarious history and some things happen
because in the first episode he's the most overtly likable person.
Yeah, for sure. And that is the biggest bummer about it is because there's a real rapport there. Right. It's implied and on screen with Regina King and Don Johnson's character. And then the end of the first episode ends with him being hanged unexpectedly, and her meeting what she finds out later is her grandfather who claims to have done it. Yeah. And then that's when everything starts unraveling further than I guess it already has.
Yeah, it's a crazy ending of that show because Don Johnson only being in one episode definitely did not leak.
Because, I mean, he was the star of the trailers.
Yeah.
The trailers they had shown, it seemed like, oh shit, Don Johnson is the main player in this fucking show.
I actually had, for a while, thought Don Johnson may have been Night Owl.
Right.
That it just was like, this is who he is now. Some random
he would have been
chief.
the right age.
Yeah. So it was and I knew, the spoiler, but it still is a really fun twist and a way to end that show in an exciting way. And then, so you move on to episode 2, and Angela finds some. This is, I guess, where you find out the nefarious information about Don Johnson. Is that he was, at the very least, at this time, we know comes from racist, or he has a KKK uniform hanging in his closet. Mm-hmm. And this is really one where they established the museum. We're against the Tulsa, which plays an importance later on.
Right.
I don't remember. Was something else big happened in this episode? This is before Gene Smart comes in.
Right. Gene Smart's 3.
Yeah. No. The big revelation in this is the Ku Klux Klan uniform.
Yeah.
But I don't know if we meet him in this episode or the second episode. We definitely get a little bit of Jeremy Irons between one of the two.
Right.
Of them,
yeah.
Where he seems to be in a completely different universe altogether.
And it just seems wacky and insane.
It's bizarre.
And I love every fucking thing about it. He's getting no context for it. He seems to be in some kind of mansion in maybe like the British Isles.
Yeah. Yep.
And he's helped by these 2 servants who you get the distinct impression are not quite all the way either there or human.
Right.
Jeremy Irons is Ozymandias, by the way.
He's Adrian Veidt.
And he's kind of the only thing like that they made clear before going in.
Yeah.
It's like everybody kind of knew he was going to be Ozymandias. He's doing sort of a weird Nixon impression that I like.
Yeah, his accent was a little strange.
I like it. I think it's fun.
He also had fake teeth.
Yeah.
That's why he sounded so whistly, I guess. He sounded very whistly.
I mean, we'll talk about it over the whole, however many episodes that happened, but I love everything that happened there. It's so fucking farcical, ridiculous.
And it is kind of what I'm talking about, where it's like totally, they have a reverence for this material, but also there's just ridiculous shit in this.
Absolutely.
I think Watchmen, as the graphic novel, does a really good job of embracing the impossible, but establishing a world that feels very relevant. The movie does not do that.
Right.
And so this does say, look, this is a universe where kooky shit happens.
Right.
But also carries all the negative shit of the real world in it. And the Adrian Veidt parts really play into that.
That's a really good point. A thing the movie missed is that even though it's a more grounded superhero universe, it still is kind of has the ridiculous trappings of dudes dressing up and in spandex and punching the shit out of each other. This had that. This totally had.
Then we move on to episode 3, and I think there are more, but the one thing I wanted to really talk about in episode 3...
Oh, actually, episode 2 might be... The end of episode 2 might be where you meet Gene Smart, now that I think about it.
Either way, that's what I want to talk about. Gene Smart comes in, who we find out is formerly the Silk Spectre.
Which they kept that secret pretty well.
Yeah.
I did not know that coming in, and she is fucking great.
She is so great in this show. I told Joseph, the one problem I have is you have to introduce that character because of Dr. Manhattan.
Right.
And especially because what they do with Dr. Manhattan in the show, it's important to have her perception.
Right.
I think they don't know what to do with the character. I think early on, it's established really well, but then I feel like they kind of lose their way until they bring her back in.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, she's not really the central part of the arc, as you find out.
But she kind of asks the same questions repeatedly. You know what I mean? She ends up in same situations on multiple occasions that feel very similar. Because I just feel like, they're like, we have to keep including her until we can get to this point.
Right.
But man, she knocks it out of the park.
She's great.
She's really good. I think it's clever that she comes back, but she's not her mother anymore. She's her father. She's the comedian now, and she's fucking hilarious.
She is hilarious. Yeah. So the whole third episode is kind of her story. She's coming into Tulsa as an FBI agent, kind of against this whole... She's been...
Supers thing.
Yeah, hunting down mass vigilantes everywhere, and is kind of here to solve the mass police 7th Cavalry problem. She immediately distrusts Regina King's character, Angela Abar. But a lot of the episode is just set up for her. Yeah. She spends most of it in a booth where you get to talk to Dr. Manhattan, explaining the concept of a brick joke, which is where you tell one joke that doesn't seem to pay off and then tell another joke that has the punchline of the other one, usually with a brick falling down out of nowhere, and comes out of the booth to find a giant car falling out of the sky. Giving her a clue to where Regina King's...
that was pretty goddamn clever.
And then there's also...
It was great.
Yeah, and then there's also a giant blue dildo.
Very large blue dildo.
So huge.
One thing that I...
There's also a supplementary material to this, which is Peteypedia, which is really like a 2008 marketing approach to this, but I like it. Where you find out the name of the giant dildo is Excalibur, which is great.
You also find out how she became an FBI agent on there, and what happened to Night Owl, which is they were both caught, and basically the deal, Night Owl said, I'm not taking your deal, I'm going to go to prison, and she said, fine, I'll work for the FBI and catch vigilantes, which is probably a detail you maybe should have included in the show, but, I mean, they offered it to you elsewhere, so it's fine.
Yeah. I wish, and I think it works also because supplemental material was a part of the original Watchmen too, so it almost wouldn't have been the same thing if it didn't have that.
Yeah, well, I would say we besides obviously the squid thing and things making it very apparent, there are a lot of details in this world that make it feel like Archie not really in it, but the cops now have Archie ripoff flying car type things.
Yeah, so, I guess they just took it reverse engineered and made it for everybody.
Yeah.
I think they mentioned that Adrian Veidt might have helped to design it or something. I can't remember. So yeah, we move on to the fourth episode where we meet Lady True, who is the second worst actor in this whole thing, in my opinion. I liked the character concept. I didn't like the execution that much. I also didn't know Lady True is a real Vietnamese folklore character.
Oh, really?
Did not know that.
Yeah, which explains one thing that happens a little bit later.
That scene where they introduce you to her is the most Damien Lindolphy thing of the whole fucking show. It seemed like a cold open to 12 episodes of Lost or something like that.
But she's a super genius, kind of philanthropist, kind of businesswoman who's building a giant clock in Tulsa, Oklahoma, for seemingly no reason.
Yeah, a big twist of the show is where she comes from.
Correct, yeah.
And I immediately had a theory, and that theory was wrong. And I'll be curious to hear if you guys thought. I thought she was the comedian's kid.
I also thought she was the comedian's kid. It seemed like it made more sense.
Yep. I'm not saying what they did was not good. I mean, it was fine, but I just tie back so much of those scenes. There's a lot of Dr. Manhattan in Vietnam, but the comedian was there with him.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, we don't really reference that at all.
So that's the comedian's big touch point with Dr. Manhattan in the comic, is they were in Vietnam at the same time.
I don't know. I felt pretty good about her parentage for most of the series, but I do like, one of the things I like about this is one of the few visible alterations they kind of stick with in this whole series that they established in the Watchmen series, is that we win the war in Vietnam because of Dr. Manhattan. It becomes the 51st state. And that's a big fucking plot point in this. We spent a lot of time in Vietnam. Vietnam's a big part of this story.
Yeah, I mean, they broadcast who her dad is through her story.
Right.
But I just couldn't get over the comedian connection to Vietnam.
I think it might be that. I thought it was a little obvious that it would be who she was, so I thought, it'll be the comedian.
I mean, you've heard this series is full of red herrings. It super plays on your expectations all over the place.
Well, I just kept the scene them in the bar, and the comedian shoots the pregnant woman. I couldn't get it out of my head.
Right.
So most of that episode is kind of establishing Lady True. Regina King is still kind of hunting down answers about who this man that claims to be her grandfather is, and how her friend was connected to this racist organization. And it's that kind of continues. The fifth episode is where we really get to meet another character we haven't really talked about, which is Tim Blake Nelson's Looking Glass,
who's present in
Wade
these episodes.
Tillman. He's present in all the episodes. I will say the only bummer about the Gene Smart introduction episode is that I don't feel like they gave enough time for Looking Glass to be the coolest guy on screen for a while.
Right, yeah, that's true.
But he's fucking great. And this one, we kind of get a little bit of his history behind the enigmatic reflective mask that he wears.
Right.
That he was there for the actual incident in New York City.
Right.
That's a great scene.
It is a great scene because you don't really get where it's going until until they're in the fun house. It's like, I think I know where this shit's going. And then that's where it goes.
And they give I wouldn't even have needed an explanation for his mask.
Right.
But they give one, and it's interesting.
It is, totally.
And they do cool stuff with it. The like self-help group, and people are talking about it, and he's sitting wearing a hat with, the shit in the inside. Like, it was, I don't know, it's a really cool sequence.
One of the things I hate about superhero TV and movies is that every costume has to be explained in a functional way.
Yeah.
So I was set to hate that part, but it was so good and so just like slid right in there. It made the character better.
Also, I mean, like, it's given a specific purpose to like a tinfoil hat conspiracy theorist in that it's like that really helps.
Yeah.
I both agree with you guys said. I just really also enjoyed that it added depth to the, like, it's such a simple thing to add depth to that character, but it made him this person who's like living a lie, who's super hypocritical, that his whole life is falling apart because he can't quit this fear, but he wants to pretend that he's not afraid. And God, Tim Blake Nelson just knocks it out of the park.
I mean, he always does. Tim Blake Nelson is always great.
He's usually anything he's in, he's the best thing in it, and he might be the best thing in this.
But I love the ending of this episode because it's every conspiracy theorist like absolute worst nightmare that they just like talk themselves out of. Like, this couldn't possibly happen. There couldn't be this many things conspiring against me specifically. And it's all of those things at one moment.
Right, the second he gives up on it, it all comes crashing.
It's genuinely amazing.
Yeah.
The other, I think this is really the one where we establish kind of who the villain, one of the villains of the show is that we find out, what is the senator's name?
Well, I don't fucking know. Oh, he's the son of the senator from the first... From Watchmen. Shit, I can't think of it. Keen, something.
Yeah, you're right.
King,
Senator
Joseph
King.
Yeah.
And find out that he...
has a terrible Southern accent.
Yeah, real
I wanted
bad.
to shoot that motherfucker every goddamn episode.
He has a terrible Southern accent, but he has a better Southern accent than any person that's ever been on The Walking Dead, except for the one guy who actually had a Southern accent. And Jeffrey Dean Morgan.
He's kind of the mastermind of everything that's going on.
Which is a pretty hard sell, if I'm honest with you.
Yeah.
That guy does not look like a mastermind.
The train of thought also was a little complicated.
Right.
Like, I put people in mass so that I could create this cultural war and nobody knows who to trust. And I was like, this seems like a bit much. You probably just could have had white supremacists.
Right.
And then we move into, is that the fourth or fifth?
That's the fifth episode.
So they're the sixth episode.
So the end of this episode is when Angela takes the memory pills that she knows she thinks are her grandfather's memory pills. So the sixth episode is a bit of a loopy, surreal experience.
This episode was crazy.
I think this one's probably the best episode.
Yeah.
It almost certainly is.
It has the most connotations for Watchmen, I feel like. Which was that she takes these memory pills and she relives the memories of her grandfather, who we quickly find out is the Hooded Justice.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And if you had asked me what character I thought would have carried over from the original, it would not have been this one.
But the Hooded Justice, specifically in the Watchmen comic, is his identity is never actually established.
Never established. There is one scene that sort of maybe lines up with this, but there's just one scene where Silk Spectre, when she's young, is talking to a young, like a large, sort of overpowering black dude that you're in no way given any context of who he is. So I think that if he wasn't intended to be the Hooded Justice, I think that's probably where Damien Lindelof got the idea to make the Hooded Justice a black dude.
Then her grandfather survives the Tulsa massacre, eventually ends up in New York City, becomes a cop, and has to deal with racist cops and trying to do good while in a society that hates him.
And accidentally begins the mass vigilante movement that starts the whole Watchmen everything.
And that episode is extremely well done.
Yeah, it's super. So the whole point of the episode is it kind of because Regina King is not supposed to be experiencing other people's memories, it will intercut between the actor who's playing a young version of her grandfather and Regina King in those same situations, kind of delivering the same lines. And it's everything about it is really, really well done.
The actor who plays the young Hooded Justice is from The Leftovers, and he's great.
Oh, I didn't know that.
He plays the the family that's introduced in the second season, he's the son.
Oh,
yeah,
that's cool.
We are also introduced an even deeper sect or criminal organization within the Ku Klux Klan, which is the Cyclops organization, which Hooded Justice is obsessed with taking down, and no one else seems to be really interested because they're mostly just targeting black folks.
Yep. We haven't been talking about this. All the while, every episode, we get a little bit of Ozymandias and what the shit's going on. And eventually what we figure out is, I think by this point we know it's a year every time we see him.
Right.
That he's been stuck in we keep seeing the same birthday party thing they get for him. And now we know he's trying to leave wherever this place is. And God, the antics are nuts.
They're
he builds a giant
ridiculous.
catapult.
They're so fucking great, man.
He takes a suit of armor and builds a space suit out of it. I mean, it's nuts.
I am not a fart joke person.
Yeah.
So you have to really nail a fart joke for me, and that fart killed me.
Is this the episode with the trial? It might be.
It might be.
Yeah.
The trial is great.
The trial is
and it honestly is, I'm not going to say the first time we get real confirmation, but you at this point you can't argue because he's in the Ozymandias outfit.
Right.
And I mean, he kills it.
Yeah.
Those parts are hilarious.
Yeah, I mean, even the catapult one where you find out that the whole point is
making the baby.
Yeah, the baby, the servants are all these kind of grown babies that he harvests from a lake and rapidly age into adult.
That scene is super uncomfortable.
Subservient creatures, but he's just been using them as
fodder.
Yeah. To build a giant SOS message outside of his little cage prison thing.
Yeah, they're great. And, I mean, they kind of take a sideline to what's going on, and it reminds me of the pirate storyline from.
Yeah, no, totally, absolutely.
Because it's not necessarily pertinent to the story going on, but it has also a lot to do with what's actually happening. And it was definitely some nice humor to break up this episode because, and the reason why I want to talk about it here is because this episode is heavy.
Right.
It deals with a lot of, you talk about the beginning where you see the Tulsa race riots. This is the episode that really deals with a lot of that shit and what people had experienced. And so having those Ozymandias moments in here was a nice way to I don't want to say break it up, but just keep you still in this world. Even though if you were talking about Hooded Justice, you're talking about a black dude who can't get people to care about racial crime and be like, oh, by the way, this is still the same world where this guy is using clones to build an SOS on some random planet.
Yeah. And on top of that, can only be celebrated as a hero that defeats villains because he pretends he's white under the mask.
Yeah.
it's dark shit, man.
Yeah, it's heavy.
And that brings
a lot of interracial man love.
Yeah, there's quite a lot of that,
which is accurate to the book. It was implied in the book that what's Captain Metropolis and Hooded Justice were lovers. Because I thought since he obviously had a straight relationship to have a granddaughter that they're going to try to glaze over that, but no, they did that too. So I thought that was cool.
I like the fact that the ongoing series that's happening in Angela's time about the origins of what is it called, American heroes,
right?
I think one, I mean, it is intentionally ham-fisted and inaccurate, but also apparently kind of serves as Damon Lindelof's critique of Zack Snyder's Watchmen.
Right, yeah. Well, and they also use it to mislead you too. Because, I mean, definitely, they show in the beginning of this episode, Hooded Justice and it was a white guy who, by the way, was Danny from 30 Rock. If anybody else besides me is a 30 Rock fan.
I didn't make that connection at the time, but that's fair.
So the seventh episode, in almost religious awe, is where things really start coming together. We start getting a better idea of what the 7th Cavalry's plan is. They want to capture Dr. Manhattan to steal his power. Angela is recovering from the memory thing and is attached to a giant elephant, which I thought was just a random ass thing. I thought it was going to be explained later. That's the Lady True thing.
Right.
Yeah. The whole thing, Lady True is apparently rode on an elephant, and then they're playing on the elephants never forget. I don't know. But I got really confused by that. It never got explained in the series. So I had to
I immediately tied it to the fact that she's took a memory pill, and then we have the expression "elephants never forget."
Yeah.
That's I didn't assume it to be deeper than that. I just thought it was a play on that term
for sure.
Also, a very losty looking thing too.
It's very losty.
Yeah.
At some point, I don't remember which. It might have been this episode. It might have been the episode after. Jean Smart gets captured for a dumb reason, in my opinion, for someone who's as fucking canny and skeptical as she is.
That's a fucking great scene. That is such a great scene where she can't make the trap door work and she just keeps sitting there. That's fucking great.
Can't remember if anything else really important happens to the episode besides the big reveal at the end of the episode.
The trap. I'll just say one more thing about the trap door scene. That was the scene where I realized, oh, they're making fun of me.
Yeah,
you know.
How does Angela figure out what? I can't remember. What is it? At what point does she make the connection of what's about to happen, where she has to go save Cal?
I think Lady True tells her.
Correct.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But she doesn't know that Lady True is manipulating her.
Yeah.
I think she probably knows, but she also realizes she still has to
save
her.
Cal.
Yeah. So then we reach probably the biggest reveal of the series, which fucking sneaky as fuck, in my opinion.
That her husband, Cal Abar,
is actually Dr. Manhattan.
Correct.
And that episode is fantastic.
That episode is really good.
It may be the best Dr. Manhattan shit, period. Him having multiple conversations with her across different time periods is fucking smart.
Before we get to that, so that episode comes out, and then, the internet very quickly connected the dots of the Cal Abar. Because first off, the Angela Abar name is a red herring because it just sounds like a comic book name.
Right.
So you don't even think about the husband name, the husband who's very much been sidelined the whole time.
Right.
The whole time, Lori Blake, who is Dr. Manhattan's girlfriend in the original
who's her ex,
right, refers to him only as her ex,
right?
Her ex, Cal Abar, which again is the name of the dildo from the
Excalibur.
From the fucking third episode, which by itself is an exceptional dick joke.
Right,
but it's an even better dick joke since the whole premise of the third episode is her telling a goddamn brick joke and then ending on the dildo.
Right.
And 6 episodes later, we get the fucking explanation. God damn it, David Lindelof. You made the best fucking dick joke of the century, in my opinion.
I can't think of a better dick joke.
There's no way to do it.
It's impossible. I don't know how anyone ever thought of it. You know what I mean? How you made that connection.
Right.
You had to have thought, you started, the first thing someone ever wrote down is, we're going to make a blue dildo and call it Excalibur.
I mean, genuinely the whole show may have built off that.
And then everything is built off of that.
Right.
It's crazy. But God, man, I thought he knocked it out of the park. Again, I knew it going into it. And, is it, you guys didn't know. So,
no.
Did you think it was apparent? Because for me, the scene where he's talking to the kids about death, and he's like, and then nothing happens.
Yeah.
And he's so calm. I was like, that motherfucker's Dr. Manhattan.
And that's why I think the show does such a good job of, I feel like David Lindelof is playing off our expectations, not being like a normal, viewer, but being like the kind of viewer that goes online and analyzes shit and reads shit. Because for many reasons, honestly, this show is the best, like, girl power, feminist show that's been on television without shoving it down your throat that it's girl power feminist.
Yeah.
And so one of the things I thought about having a big name actor being the father and, the spouse in this is that, okay, this is like they're making a specifically progressive statement that he is like the at-home father and like comfortable in that role, and that she's comfortable being the breadwinner and kind of the assertive dominant part of this relationship. Right. And that was sold on that because I was like, that's a very 2019 thing to do.
Right.
And then they fucking that was used against me. It was weaponized against me.
I didn't really start to think it until the Lady True scene where she's sort of telling her, because I was like, well, the next person, obviously Angela knows, so the next person she sees is going to be. So,
The other, I guess, kind of retcon of Watchmen that we find out is that Dr. Manhattan never went to Mars.
Right.
That's all just been a hologram, I think they say. It's like a program that's just constantly playing out. And then he's actually been to Europa, where he built a stable environment and built Adrian's prison, essentially.
Right. I mean, he created a utopia.
Yeah.
Heavy quotes there. And created life in the image of what he deemed as kindness in his own life, but was, at least to Ozymandias, a sad facsimile of life.
This is a great episode for a lot of reasons.
So the episode, this is the episode 8. God walks into Abar, which is come on.
At this point, they're
absolutely fucking with us.
Yeah.
But it's told from Dr. Manhattan's perspective, in like his literal perspective of experiencing all moments in time, all of his experiences in time at the same time. And so it leaps around all over the place masterfully, in my opinion.
Yeah, it does a great job. Because it's three things all at once. It's how they met and how they fell in love.
Right.
It's Dr. Manhattan's story, pre and post, really, Watchmen. And then her story and how she came about to be nice. And it handles all three masterfully. It's an impossible task, but they knock it out of the park. I think this is the best episode.
That might actually be the best episode.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong. The whole Dr. Manhattan thing is still a very complicated concept to work with.
Right.
So I'm not, I have no idea if there's no holes in it or anything. I'm sure that there are. But it was fun to watch. I was along for the ride.
I mean, I'm definitely not looking for holes in it because I enjoyed it too much.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was a ton of fun.
And
is this the episode where Ozymandias escapes, or is that
I think that's this episode because it's this.
No, I think it's the end of the previous episode, or it's the beginning of the next episode. I can't tell.
I don't really remember, but Ozymandias escapes at some point.
Yeah,
and we find out he's kind of been present.
Yep,
the whole time.
Well, which Sarah actually was the first person I knew that guessed that. She was like, "Do you think he's in the statue?" I was like, "He's not in the statue. He was totally in the statue."
He's in the statue. She was Lady True just buying her time.
Correct.
And this is really we really get the reveal that everyone's plan is basically the same thing. We're going to steal Dr. Manhattan's powers,
right? And
so it's going to be Angela and Cal versus everybody. And it leads us in the last episode, but episode 8 is real fucking strong.
Absolutely,
it's good Watchmen shit.
The ending to me was.
I just want to say one more thing.
Sure.
About episode 8. One thing I really, really liked about their interpretation of Dr. Manhattan is you understand why so many women fall in love with him.
Yeah.
Like, reading him, and then in the Zack Snyder version, you're like, nobody would want to even have a conversation with this guy. But he's calm and cool and just smooth, and like I actually think it really works.
And you also see why being in a relationship with him would be absolutely fucking infuriating.
Agreed. Him attracting so many women was always a hard pill to swallow for me.
Well, something
did you not see his giant blue dick?
He has a massive blue dick. It's called Excalibur.
Something that they did, I think it was in this episode, that they'd never done in any comic or any sequel comic or anything that I thought was cool, whereas they realized that if he's experiencing all moments at all time, then you could have a conversation with someone in the past through him, and I thought that was clever.
And that's why I think the final episode is really great, because you have all these threads and you see where everybody wants to go, but you don't really understand how anyone started on this track.
Right.
Because the Lady True thing it kind of makes sense on its own. She's kind of independent, where she just wants this power for herself, both to prove it to herself and kind of to prove it to her father, which is Ozymandias. The 7th Cavalry one was always confusing, because how did a bunch of races figure all this bullshit out? And then on the additional, how did Angela's grandfather figure out that the 7th Cavalry was, fucking whoever they were, and they were up to this plan? And the episode, again, David Lindelof, credit to you, answers all that shit pretty satisfyingly.
Yeah.
You find out, Lady True is trying to capture this power for herself. The 7th Cavalry discovered the identity of Dr. Manhattan in the coordinated attacks on the police, where, in a moment of base instinct, kills one of the 7th Cavalry members to save Angela.
He teleports him.
That's right.
He doesn't kill him.
Teleports him. And
there's only one person who could have that power, which is how they figure it out.
Right. And so then they've kind of concocted this whole plan around the fact that they know that Dr. Manhattan is here and living with them. But then you're like, how the fuck did Angela's grandfather know? You actually find that out in the previous episode, where she's asking... Actually, is it this episode or is it the previous episode? No, it's
this episode where John comes and talks to him.
Yeah. Where she's having a conversation with her grandfather through Dr. Manhattan.
Yeah.
The way that he experiences time, and alerts him to the fact that the 7th Cavalry is up to something.
Her realization of it is unbelievable. Because what's so great is you as the audience member are like, oh my god, this is kind of like Angela's fault. Like, she pieces this all together, and then she experiences it, and it's such a great moment where you as the viewer connect with a character because you experience the exact same emotion. Last episode.
Yeah, last episode.
Which is just a chase for Dr. Manhattan, essentially. Like, everyone's trying to get him and then try to steal his powers. And
Looking Glass is back. He doesn't do that much. Laurie Blake is back. She doesn't do that much.
Yeah, 6, 7, and 8, those two are really sidelined a bit. And it's kind of what I meant, that they didn't know what to do with them.
I really liked Laurie's reaction to seeing Ozymandias, but I wish we would have got a little more interaction.
Sure, yeah.
Since they were the sort of the last men standing from the
last minute,
like Minutemen standing. Yeah.
Yeah. So the 7th Cavalry captures Dr. Manhattan and tries to destroy him and use his powers to turn the terrible accent senator guy into Dr. Manhattan, but he doesn't do it right because he's a dumb racist and just turns into goo. So that's when Lady True shows up.
And her giant clock apparently is not a giant clock. Who would have figured?
Who would have fucking figured?
It turns out it's a Dr. Manhattan machine that can fly.
I think the beauty of the ending of this episode, not the ending, but the ending of, I guess, Lady True's story and kind of like the big arc that we've been going on here, is that her downfall very much could have been Ozymandias' downfall also, because it's hubris, you know?
Right.
Yeah.
The whole thing is she not only wanted to win, but she wanted to show the smartest person on Earth that he's not the smartest person on Earth. She is.
Right.
Watch me do this. And by doing that, she sabotages herself. Because Ozymandias, we find out that all the little squids that have been raining down all over the planet have been...
It's like a reminder. He keeps
they've been little generators, reminders from Ozymandias to keep the world from falling into World War III. And he weaponizes them.
He kills her with frozen seafood.
He kills her with frozen... God, again, this show is making fun of us.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And you know what? It's funny, and it works, and I enjoy it. We famously... we'll get the death of Dr. Manhattan, which you didn't think would be possible.
I didn't.
And they do a good job with it.
One thing we didn't cover in the last episode is that it set up the premise that Dr. Manhattan believed that he could put his powers in a genetic material and then someone could ingest it, and then they would have his powers. Which in a previous episode you might not remember. But I had thought that maybe that might mean that she already had it by sucking his dick.
Yes,
but that turned out to not be true.
I remember your BJ joke.
Yeah,
I didn't.
I didn't include the spoilers because it was out of context. But that's what I was talking about. But I think the thing they went with was probably better than mine.
I mean, the chicken and the egg was kind of the one of the running themes in the last several episodes.
Yeah. So, what do you guys think? You think she possessed the powers of Dr. Manhattan or not?
I mean, probably, and if they do another series, surely it will be somewhat about whatever that experience is going to be like.
I hope they don't, and I hope they never answer.
Agreed. I love the ambiguity.
I also love the ambiguity. I mean, I feel like they did so well in this that they wouldn't do another season unless they knew what they were doing. But if they don't, I'm fine because I loved this.
Yeah, I was blown away by how into it I was. Because like I said, I was going to watch it no matter what.
Right.
I enjoy Watchmen. I thought it was going to be pretty good. I was fairly impressed with what we had seen. But I didn't anticipate me immediately having to watch it. Because I watched it when the show was over, so I was able to binge it. And I don't like binging shit anymore.
Right.
But I had to binge this.
Right.
I had to know what was going to happen next. It's super entertaining.
I mean, it was one of those things, again, I came in with medium expectations. I was going to see it because I'm on a podcast, we talk about comic books all the time. I have some affection for this property, but not very much. But from the first episode, I was like, "Ooh, this is not what I was expecting." And then it just, and I also like that it kind of like slowly brings you off the rails. Like it nudges you and then it shoves you towards the end.
Definitely, the first episode and the last episode feel like they could be completely different.
Totally
things.
different universes.
Yeah.
I was just blown away by how innovative it was, like how well adapted it adapted to a TV screen. And for the first time, I think, since like this aggressive nerd culture that we've been in, that someone has weaponized that against me to subvert my expectations.
But in a way that you like.
In a way that I really enjoyed.
Yeah.
Totally made fun of me in a way that I thought that joke was funny.
Yeah.
If there was any decision I absolutely loved, and Jehu, I know you've read Doomsday Clock, that this makes that I wish Doomsday Clock had made, no Rorschach.
Right.
Works.
Right, totally.
Not needed.
Not needed, totally. Absolutely.
Having said that, this is a better sequel than Doomsday Clock.
It is. A Doomsday Clock, I was going to talk about this some in what we're reading, but I'll just go ahead and talk about it now. Doomsday Clock definitely, as it turns out, really tries to be a comment on Superman, on Watchmen, and on how those two things have affected comics and culture. And I think its point would have made a lot better if they would have got it done before this show came out.
Because you can't help but compare it.
You can't help but compare it, and the show is so much better. Doomsday Clock, still worth checking out. Great Gary Frank art. It does the best job of explaining why Superman's history changes every 2 fucking weeks. Mm-hmm. But it just seems silly in comparison to this, which is weird because it takes itself super seriously, and this doesn't.
I would say that I thought in Doomsday Clock, I actually thought the Watchmen parts were pretty good. Yeah. Like, I think the sequel to those characters, they were fine. Right. I don't know that they necessarily made a ton of sense, but but it was okay.
Right.
I think it got muddled on the DC side of things.
Yeah.
It just felt like a lot was going on. It reminded me a lot of Flashpoint.
Yes.
And I didn't need to relive those emotions.
Right. I definitely think they should have kept it to it. Even though the big fight scene with everybody in the DC universe was great, I think they should have tried to keep more of it to a smaller DC cast. Basically have, match points for each of them and stuff like that. And the more it got into the DC stuff, the more it made everything feel sillier. It made the Watchmen stuff feel sillier, and it made the DC stuff feel sillier.
I think this story could have benefited from being a lot simpler. I don't think you needed Ozymandias in this. I really think you probably could have just had, what if Dr. Manhattan came to this universe and interacted with the most powerful being there is, Superman? Like a simplified story that was just that, which I realize is the heart of Doomsday Clock, but there's so much other shit, marionette crap going on, like that if you just focused on those two people and how their stories could connect, I feel like would have been a more clear product.
Interesting decision that both of them made is to not do anything with Night Owl.
Yeah.
Night Owl seems like if you went from Watchmen and said, okay, which one of these characters would most carry on to telling a new story? I would think it would be Night Owl, but it didn't in either one.
Yeah, agreed. I think if you saw a sequel in television, it would be a Night Owl story. I don't know that you would get... I think if you made another season of the show, it would not be necessarily in reference to what happened in this season.
Right.
I think intentionally, like leaving out Night Owl, you could tell a whole nother 10-episode arc and have almost none of the same. Maybe Laurie being the only carryover character. Right. Did you ever read before Watchmen?
I did. I read some of it. I read the Darwin Cook Minutemen limited series, which I fucking loved. If you hate that they made more Watchmen, just read it as separate because it's just a really good dark superhero story.
Yeah, Watchmen.
You know what we got through this whole thing without talking about? Fucking Lube Man.
Yep.
Yeah, Lube Man.
Because he's an interesting thread that never fully gets resolved on screen.
Right. But it was a practical effect. Joseph told me this. It was a practical effect.
There's this weird moment in, I think it's like episode 3 or 4, where Regina is trying to dispose of some evidence off a bridge, and she turns around and there's a giant man in completely covered in like silver, kind of latex material, I guess, who then breaks off into a full sprint, sprays a bunch of something on himself, and then jumps on the ground, slides into a sewer grate, and disappears. We never see him again.
And it's fucking hilarious.
It's amazing.
And it turns out it was a practical effect. They really made that happen.
Yes.
That's crazy.
We find out later that is Petey. Of Peteypedia and Laurie's weird gangly partner.
Yeah.
From the FBI.
I like that dude. I thought he was funny.
Yeah.
He was a nice addition. But
so what do we think? Do we think that Alan Moore, famous curmudgeon who wrote Watchmen, who's upset that anything's ever been done with it ever, do we think he would think this was better or worse than Transformers if forced to watch it?
Worse.
Yes, worse. If he would even accept the question.
I think he would like it. If you've ever... First of all, he famously got screwed out of Watchmen. But if you know much about the original deal, it's sort of like the premise of like when Angela Abar realizes she created this whole mess for herself. The deal that he signed for Watchmen was actually really good at the time that he signed it. It was, when this is over, for 1 year after we stop publication of it, it'll become yours. Now, in 1985, that meant it was definitely going to be his because there was no real reprint market. Like, you didn't go into Barnes and Nobles and find collections of stuff. Watchmen's success as sort of the standalone story created that market. So it kind of created the thing where that clause would be used against him, which I'm not trying to plead for the big corporation there. And big corporation versus individual, big corporation is always evil. But I just think it's kind of funny that really it wasn't a bad deal. It just turned into one. But I bring that up because there were times when he thought this was going to come back to them that he was open to the idea of making a Watchmen movie or something like that. And the thing that he talked about was much more like this than Zack Snyder. It was going to be something sit in the same thing, but it would have to be different for live action. So I think he would like it.
I just think he wouldn't give it the time of day.
Yeah.
I know he wouldn't give it the time of day. I'm saying if we tied him up by his beard and made him watch it.
Alan Moore, famous listener of Real Phonies. If you want to come on on our podcast and talk about your opinions on HBO's Watchmen, we'd love to hear it.
That's not true. Of all the guest people I would want, Alan Moore sharing his opinions is literally the last person I would want to hear. It's Alan Moore and then you, Joseph. Like, those are my top.
But I'm on this podcast.
He is very negative, dude, but he has some positive qualities. And he has a really big beard.
But I think that's it for HBO's Watchmen. If we haven't confused you or convinced you to watch the series, I'm sorry for taking an hour of your life.
This is not... I don't want to keep going on it, but did you guys watch the test footage that came out from like the 2003 version?
I did.
With Ian Glenn as Night Owl? I was into it.
I wish it would have happened.
Yeah.
Who was supposed to be the director on that?
David Hayter, I think was his name. But yeah, no, I thought that was pretty good.
It's pretty good too, yeah.
So with that being said, what have we been watching, guys?
Jay, you don't want to go first? I didn't watch much, but...
I'll go first. I was going to say that, I watched Doomsday Clock. Read Doomsday Clock. We already talked about that. I'll say... Again, not as good as The Thing, but I'll still give it better than Transformers. I had fun reading it. It definitely reads better as one big block, and it has phenomenal comic book art. In regards to that, a couple more comics I read this week. There was a relaunch of Thor by Nick Klein and the writer Donny Cates, who is kind of Marvel's it guy right now. It was pretty fucking cool. It sort of, the premise is it starts with Thor is now the king of Asgard. He won the War of the Realms. Odin stepped down, gave it to him, and he hates it. He's sort of in the same place as Burnout Thor. And, he's sort of, all the adventure is basically over for me. And then a half-dead Galactus shows up and says, I need your help. And then it has an ending that I won't spoil that's pretty fucking cool. There was also a new Hawkeye series I read this month. As we know, I'm a super big fan of Matt Fraction and David Aja's Hawkeye series. And Marvel's been trying to capture that lightning in the bottle ever since then, and they haven't really been able to. They've done some good Hawkeye series, but they never lived up with that. But the first issue of this was pretty fucking good.
It reintroduces Ronan, right?
It introduces Ronan, and basically it's a mystery of who is Ronan. Yeah. Ronan's going around doing some... maybe not bad, but some objectionable shit, and Clint's getting blamed for it, and he's trying to find out. I can't remember the writer's name, but the artist's name is Oxter Smith, and he's fucking phenomenal. I highly recommend both these comics. And last thing, there's a documentary on Netflix that I think everybody's watching now called Wild Wild West.
Oh, it's great.
I've watched like the first 4 episodes. Shit is fucking crazy. At this point, I'm having trouble, and I like this about it, I'm having trouble deciding its point of view.
Yeah.
Because sometimes it seems like it's telling me that the cult guys are the victims, and sometimes it's telling me, no, they're fucking awful.
I think when you get to the end, you'll realize the cult guys are fucking awful.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm starting to realize
they're innocent people who were kind of led astray.
Well, I feel like it seems like in the beginning, they would have been okay if the rednecks would have just left them alone.
Yeah.
But then I've gotten to the point where you find out some of the stuff of how they already were in India. It's like, no, these were already shady people.
Yeah. It's crazy that is a true story and actually happened like 30 years ago.
Right, 30 years ago. And just apparently for a while, it was all Dan Rather and Peter Jennings talked about. That's pretty crazy.
Have you seen this?
Nope.
Oh, you should
I remember
watch
you telling us about it when you
great.
watched it.
It seems like something you would like because everyone's an asshole.
It's by the Duplass brothers.
Oh, I don't like their faces.
They're not in it.
Their faces aren't in it at all.
I think they just directed it.
Yeah.
I didn't watch much. I am so close to being done with Clone Wars. I am over halfway through season 5 and season 6 real short, so I'll finish that this week. I started a new show on Netflix called Messiah, which is basically if Jesus existed today, how would the CIA react? Which sounds like shit I would be into, but that's not why I started watching it. It's got Michelle Monaghan in it, who was recently on a show on Hulu, which was basically the exact same premise with Aaron Paul, where they were in a cult, and there was some divine shit, and you don't know if it was real or not. And I was like, why did she make this show twice?
Right.
So I had to watch it. And it's all right. I might keep going. I haven't decided yet.
Does she at least do it better on the second try?
She is different. In the Hulu show, she's in the cult.
Right.
In this show, she is the CIA person.
That's a great premise. If they don't get it right this time, someone should try it a third time.
And then I watched a lot of football. I also watched the Golden Globes this weekend. And man, that was a shit show. Highly entertaining. 10 out of 10 would recommend. Ricky Gervais insulted everyone in the room in the first 5 minutes. Called them all pedophiles or friends of pedophiles.
Right.
Quentin Tarantino literally got on stage and said, I don't need to thank anybody. I wrote the movie myself. Basically, you should thank me. Joaquin Phoenix cussed everyone out, and Olivia Colman got on stage and said, I'm too drunk to give a speech right now.
What was Joaquin pissed about? Besides the fact that he should be pissed that Joker won.
He was mad that, one, he was just super uncomfortable getting on stage and accepting an award. I don't think he wanted to win.
Right.
But then he goes backstage, and he was really pissed off that people asked him questions he's already answered. Some were like, it seems like a difficult, what did you do to prepare? And he's like, I answered this question 6 months ago. Why do I have to answer it?
Right.
And you're like, these guys are just doing their job, man. Like, what do you want to do?
My feelings is that at that point, just come up with new answers. Have fun for yourself. You're supposed to be a creative person. Do something fucking creative.
The best part was Quentin, because he got on stage and he was like, you're supposed to thank a lot of people right now, but when you win a screenwriting award for a movie that you wrote, shouldn't thank anybody. I wrote it. And you were like, cool, Quentin. Like,
sounds right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I don't know if all of Ricky Gervais's jokes landed, but I thought that his brand of humor is humiliating everyone. Like, he thinks everyone deserves a little slice of humble pie, and that was definitely true with everybody in that room.
I'm not always on board with that dude, but I love when he hosts award shows because he's trying to get kicked out every single time.
Oh, that was very clear last night. One thing that he really did that I thought was smart, but it seems like maybe I took it the wrong way, is he made an Epstein didn't kill himself joke, and everyone audibly groaned. I feel like that was all set up for his next line, which was oh, you were all friends with him anyway.
Well, he's like, I know you. He was your friend.
Yeah. The Epstein was not the punchline of that joke. It was to get to everybody else.
Right.
And I feel like people missed that.
Right.
But the Leo joke about Once Upon a Time being so long and Leo's girlfriend was too old by the end of it, I thought was funny.
It's cool. I don't know if I mentioned this on last week's episode. I also watched that Sturgill Simpson album thing on Netflix.
Yeah.
Did I mention that last week?
You did not.
Okay, good. I watched it.
It's weird.
It's fucking weird. It's one of those things where I don't know if I necessarily liked the music that much. There were some that I liked, but some that I didn't. But I now want every single album to have an anime accompaniment. Yeah. Because it's fucking great.
Man, that part where all the, these cutting off all the heads and shit like that, that's way more violent than I anticipated it to be.
It seems like something that should be, because I think you can probably make more money off streaming on Netflix than you can streaming on Spotify. So
you'd think so. Have you seen this yet? It seems up your alley.
I haven't seen it yet. It's one of those things I mean to watch, but I watch soap operas on YouTube.
I'm interested to hear what you think.
It goes by very quick because each one there's kind of a through line of a story, but each one's kind of an individualized short in kind of a different style.
It's only 40 minutes, right?
Yeah, it's 37 minutes. Yeah.
So did you like it better than Transformers?
It's better than again. I'm not sure about the music, but I was so enwrapped by what was going on screen, then I liked it. And then the one thing I watched yesterday actually was Uncut Gems with Adam Sandler.
Yeah. Oh, right
on. Which is by the Safdie brothers, who made Good Time, which I really loved with Robert Pattinson. This is a really stressful experience to watch.
I hear
this movie.
It's super suspenseful.
It was worse to me than watching The Revenant.
Really?
Better than Transformers?
Better than Transformers, but it's an experience. One, every scene is just chaos. Like if you're kind of claustrophobic, you probably won't like this movie just because of the sound design.
You might have just talked me out of watching.
There's just shit going on all the goddamn time, and it's really hard to get a handle on any particular scene.
That's so interesting because you don't see that in the trailers.
But I think the trailers they pick very specific scenes.
Yeah.
I think. Yeah, I think one of the reasons that makes it so stressful is, and one of the things that I think these guys do really well is, Adam Sandler is not a good guy. He's not an exceptionally likable guy, but he's just relatable enough.
Is he good in it?
He is good at it. But he's just relatable enough that you keep seeing him walk into bad decisions, and you're just like, no, please don't. And then he does. And then you follow him to the next one, like, please learn. And that's pretty much the whole movie. It's just constantly, like, cringing for him, be like, you have to see what's happening here. And he does not.
Do you think it's as good as everyone makes it out to be?
I think it's pretty good. Yeah. I'm having a hard time this year. There's no like clear cut best movie of the year, but I understand that it probably should be in that conversation.
I feel like it's been a strong year for movies, but I could see that there's not like one that's just
there's nothing that's I don't think like is a cut above that's just
maybe that's a good thing though.
Yeah, I don't know, but I would kind of recommend it.
Would you have to see it in theaters?
No, I don't think so. But I would recommend if you watch it, have something prepared to watch afterwards. That's much lighter.
What did you watch afterwards?
Schitt's Creek.
That seems appropriate.
It was appropriate.
That's about as light can be.
Correct. But I think that's it. You guys got anything else?
I saved this. I watched Crisis on Infinite Earths.
Oh yeah, I knew you had. And I thought
I've
maybe
been waiting for you. Yeah. Shit's bonkers.
Really?
Yeah, it's super weird, but kind of fun and cheesy. The last two parts come out this next week, I think, coming up, and it references a lot of stuff.
Really?
And it's interesting that they marketed Brandon Routh as Kingdom Come Superman because he's not Kingdom Come Superman.
Really?
He is the Christopher Reeve Superman. Just happens to wear the Kingdom Come.
Well, that's
logo.
fucking dope.
Yeah, and Kingdom Come Superman, very much dead. That Batman murdered the shit out of him.
No shit.
In this storyline. And Kevin Conroy goes on like a 5-minute rant about, it's like Batman versus Superman, Batman, but Kevin Conroy. And,
which I'm way more into.
Yeah, it was an interesting decision. It ends on a huge cliffhanger. I'm not super familiar with the original Crisis, but I can tell you it references a lot of famous things from DC, like Death of Superman's in there. What was some? I haven't. It's been a month. I'm trying to think of what all the shit that's in there. It's bonkers. It's a lot of stuff that they probably never thought they would get to do.
Right.
And someone said, "Oh, you can make Crisis," so they made 30-second excerpts of all the shit they wanted.
Well, I bag on these shows a lot, but I do think it's fucking great that this universe started with a show where they were embarrassed to call Green Arrow. Yeah. And now they're doing Crisis on Infinite Earths. Yeah. Like that's a pretty big evolution.
Yeah, it's I don't know if you could still watch it on the CW app, but it's on the CW app if you want to check it out. I don't think you need to watch all the other shows to have no one is given enough of a plot to whatever was happening to beforehand carries over.
Cool.
And it's bonkers.
Good deal.
Yeah.
So that's it for this week. Do we have anything planned for next week?
No.
Nope. All right. So next week we will be doing...
Ian wants to do 1917.
It's unlikely, if I'm honest with you. Next week we will probably be doing a topic episode, but if we all somehow make it to the theater to watch Sam Mendes' 1917, then we will do that. In the meantime, if you guys want to get in touch with us and tell us what you thought about Watchmen, or if you had any other end-of-the-decade things from last week, love to hear them. You can reach us at realphonies@gmail.com. You can also follow us on Facebook and Twitter at realphonies, and on Instagram at real_phonies. Thanks to Zach Evans for art and Brian Velasquez for our theme. We'll see you guys later.